It is.
Okay, please rise for a moment of silent prayer and the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Anyone up there? No. Okay. Yeah, all needs to work. Where's
I bet you can slam your hand.
Where's the recorder? Bring that in.
We got a camera.
Okay, roll call.
Frazier,
Here.
Weiss, Addie,
Here.
Elder,
Here.
Leibold,
Here.
Reese, here, Sleek.
Here.
Do you know if Stevie fixed the
I
minutes?
don't believe she did.
Okay, council has a copy of the minutes from the last meeting and has had a chance to review them. And I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but I wasn't at the last meeting and the minutes say that I was. So we will have Stevie fix that, but right now she's out of town. Okay?
Yep.
We also have a copy of the agenda tonight. Is there any additions to the agenda? No? Okay. Before we start the readings, we have two public notices. Notice is hereby given that the council of the city of Fremont will hold a public hearing in Municipal Building 323 South Front on Thursday, May 15th at 6:30 p.m. The purpose of this hearing is to review the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone parcel 346000008202 from R1 Family Residential to R3 Multifamily Residential. This lot is located at the end of Mulberry Street. Documentation may be examined in the Office of the Engineering and Zoning in the Municipal Building from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then we have another public notice, very same night. Notice is hereby given that the council of the city of Fremont will hold a public hearing at the Municipal Building, 323 South Front Street, on Thursday, May 15, 2025, at 6:50 p.m. The purpose of this hearing is to review the Planning Commission's recommendation to rezone parcel 345000408800 from I-2 General Industrial to B2 General Commercial District. Documentation may be examined in the Office of the Engineering and Zoning in the Municipal Building from 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday.
Madam President, at what point do I say to receive Councilman?
Right now.
I second it.
Kenny Addy moves to excuse Councilman Weiss, and Jim Sleek seconds.
Weiss, Addie,
Yes.
Elder,
Yes.
Leibold,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Okay, so she's excused. We need to go forward with the readings and whenever you're ready.
Okay. Third reading of an ordinance amending Fremont Chapter 1177 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fremont entitled Enforcement, Violations, and Penalties and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt. Second.
John Elder moves to adopt. Chris Leibold seconds. Roll call.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder,
Yes.
Leibold,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Approved.
Third reading of an ordinance amending Fremont Chapter 1709 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fremont entitled Administration and Enforcement and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
I second it.
Angie Reese moves to adopt. Jim Sleek seconds. Roll call.
Elder,
Yes.
Leibold,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Frazier,
Yes.
Addie.
Yes.
Approved. Okay.
Third reading of an ordinance amending Fremont Chapter 521 of the codified ordinances of the City of Fremont entitled Health, Safety, and Sanitation and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt.
I second it.
Seth Frazier moves to adopt, Angie Reese seconds. Roll call.
Libel?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Elder?
Yes.
Approved.
Third reading of an ordinance amending Fremont Chapter 129 of the codified ordinances of the City of Fremont entitled Department of Public Safety Service and declaring an emergency.
I move to adopt.
I second.
Jim Sleek moves to adopt, Seth Frazier seconds. Roll call.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Yes.
Frazier? Addie?
Yes.
Elder?
Yes.
Libel?
Yes.
Approved. Okay.
First reading of an ordinance authorizing the Safety Service Director to submit a written agreement to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation's annual road salt contract for 2025 to 2026 in accordance with revised code section 5513.02B and declaring an emergency.
Madam President,
Yes,
this
sir.
is what we do every year to get our
Right.
road salt for the only difference this year as compared to the past is we normally order 1,200 tons. This year, we're ordering 1,900. This winter, for some reason, we had so many events, we actually burned through our reserves.
Wow.
It's kind of one of those weird, always cold type needing salt winters. So we went ahead and got the extra and included in here.
Has the price has gone up?
Well, we don't know yet, because this lets us go with the state bid, so then the people
Okay.
bid on it, so. My guess is, yeah, probably.
I would imagine. I control some salt for Indiana DOT.
So you're gonna go with 1,800 tons?
19.
It says 18.
Whatever it says in here, is what it is, 1,800.
Is it 18?
Yes.
Well, he was gonna buy
1,800.
100 on his own, apparently.
He's taking a ton so low.
We're talking about the price going up.
I'm figuring the terrible pictures.
I move to suspend Rule 4.
Second.
Angie Reese moves to suspend Rule 4 and Chris Leibel seconds. Any further questions or anything on the salt? Nope. Roll call.
Sleek?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Addie?
Yes.
Elder?
Yes.
Libel?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
John Elder moves to adopt, and I don't know who seconded.
You can give it to Libel.
Leibel. Chris Leibel seconds.
He's dressed nicer.
I noticed that.
Roll call.
Frazier?
Yes.
Addie?
Yes.
Elder?
Yes.
Libel?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Approved.
First reading of a resolution authorizing the approval and issuance of a warrant for payment of $5,593 to SHI International Corporation and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, this is actually for our Microsoft licenses, and it's a 3-year contract. The contract actually started last year, and we just get the PO put in time for this year's deadline. But we're fine now.
Curiosity, how many users?
That's a great question. It's over 100.
I would imagine.
So do you need this to be, the Rule 4 to be suspended on this?
I mean, it'd be nice, yeah.
I move to suspend Rule 4.
I second.
Angie Reese moves to suspend Rule 4, Jim Sleek seconds. Any further questions on the suspension of Rule 4? Roll call.
Addie?
Yes.
Elder?
Yes.
Libel?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Angie Reese moves to adopt, John Elder seconds. Any further questions? Roll call.
Addie?
Yes.
Elder?
Yes.
Libel?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Sleek?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Approved.
Review of a transfer of liquor license from Well Run Corp., DBA North End Marathon, to Jazz Beer of Ohio LLC.
The carry out on Ohio Avenue, or on Hayes Avenue.
He's in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going from the, what was previous
Friendship?
Marathon,
Marathon.
next to, in between Wild Bill's Tobacco where Pizza Hut was and Walgreens.
Yep.
And it's going to the corner of Hayes and Stone.
Question about that, why? That carry out has a liquor
Honestly,
license.
I can only speculate. I think you put a restaurant.
It is, Hayes
The
Kitchen.
sign's up
I
on
just
it.
saw the sign.
Well, there you go.
Signs up
Really?
already.
Yeah, Hayes Kitchen is
The
called.
sign's on the,
On
on
the,
the,
on the,
Oh, yeah.
where the donut
Cur-
shop was.
Curiosity, what are they doing with the old gas station?
It's up for sale.
Is it?
It's been for sale for
There was
years.
3 guys looking at it tonight. I pulled
Russ
in.
Weldy owns that.
Now, to buy that, is there remediation because it was a gas station?
There, it depends. I mean, you
Like,
have
cause I know you can collapse those old cells for holding.
It would have to be, inspected and the soil
Okay.
samples would have to be taken.
Oh, yeah.
If they have,
Yeah.
if the Russ
Yeah.
Weldy already had it done, but yeah.
Environmental
Like,
impact.
who owns that?
Russ Weldy.
Russ Weldy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that property has been very familiar to us, so we probably have the answer to your questions, but to just further explain to you, if someone would acquire that property and there would be, those tanks would be removed, there's no guarantee, but in the past, we worked with, we had a similar situation at the Clark gas station, and we were able to get that in the land, that property was in the land bank, and we worked with the state and got some Bronco dollars to help get that cleaned up.
So there's greater potential because of that.
Well, if it gets cleaned up, if it's turned into another use, if it's going to be a gas station, then the tanks may be okay there. We
Right.
just, you know, we don't have access to that information.
Gotcha.
I mean, we probably could, however, we haven't expressed any interest in acquiring the property.
Thanks, brother.
But we will.
So if you have no objection to this transfer, then just state no objection when Amanda calls your name.
Elder,
no objection.
Weibel,
No objection.
Reese,
No objection.
Sleep,
No objection.
Frazier,
No objection.
Addie.
No objection.
Transfer approved. Okay, does anybody have a report on their committee tonight?
I want to report on the rec department.
Okay,
Don't mind?
I'm ready.
Okay. So the rec department has some openings for some position, lifeguards and custodian and rec camp jobs are posted online. You can fill out those applications online or in person. The summer activity program calendar is almost set and will be released in about a week. All baseball and softball signups are open. You have about 3 to 4 weeks to sign up for those programs. Work has begun on the pool for this summer. They have a half day tomorrow for Good Friday and regular hours Saturday and closed Sunday for Easter.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Angie.
Okay. Police department's still working very hard, and so is the fire department. I can hear the sirens going, so please be careful as you're driving in and home. I also would like to mention that yesterday was the USA Tree City meeting. It was held in Bowling Green. They had a beautiful building that they had added onto the park, and they've got their play park too. That it's the handicap play park. I don't know the name. But anyhow, it was a very nice building, very well attended by a lot of cities around the area. We did get our Tree City Award, and this makes the 40th year that we have been in Tree City. The only one that's been there the longest is, well, Toledo is the longest, for 45 years, but we've been there for 40 years. And they're changing what before Stephanie Miller. Stephanie Miller has been taking care of 19 counties that she takes care of, covers and, takes care of trees, whatever else. And they've divided it now. I can't remember if it's 4 or 7 counties that she has now, and there's 2 other people that are assisting her, so the other people cover the other counties. So that's the difference that we're going to be having with that. We'll probably have, and we're lucky we got Stephanie. She's been around for a long time. So I'm just very proud of the fact that we have belonged to Tree City, USA for 40 years, and we got an award. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Jim Sleep, do you have anything?
I have,
Okay.
what I'd like to talk about mainly is something that the whole city is aware of by now. Mr. Gross has been, as economic development, been working on this for quite a while, along with the rest of the administration. We have a new hotel coming in. It's going to have 88 rooms. We'll create 23 new jobs. I know it's out there for anybody to look at. We're looking at a $12 million project here coming to our city. So I think this is a long time coming and a lot of hard work. So I know Bob shared with me many times the conversations back and forth, and Mayor, if there's anything you want to add to this, I know that we've all been involved in it, and I know your administration, everybody's been working hard on whether we have meetings with these people and where they want to have it, but it's an awesome opportunity for us at this point as economic development council member with Bob. I'm really proud of what he's done and what we've been able to do. Also, Pixel Solutions, not sure if anybody's aware of that, but Chillicothe, I've been down there many times with KOT Trucking when I was warehouse manager. They are closing their doors, so there's 800 people in Chillicothe out of work with Pixel. However, it is not going to affect, is what they're telling us, here in Fremont. So our paper company here, we're going to be okay. Matter of fact, we are going to, the management over there has said that they will absorb anybody that wants to relocate from Chillicothe to Fremont, Ohio, or our surrounding areas. So that's all I have, but it's good news, good stuff.
Thank you.
Did you tell them about our program about moving here? Ms. Zelda would know more about it.
Well, relocation
The
grant.
relocation.
It's on the website.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. Anyways, exciting.
Thank you. Chris, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Ken Frost?
Thank you, Madam President. I know that Councilwoman Reese mentioned our police department, so I'll give a quick update on that. As far as our staffing goes, it's been a point of contention here for a long time. We just can't get people in. We're still low, but things are looking up. We have, I think, 3 or 4 candidates going into the academy and a couple coming out right now. We're actually looking into a program with Owens Community College where the academy could possibly be paid for, so the city wouldn't have to absorb that cost. They're working really hard on recruiting. They're doing really good, and the group of officers they got right now in place, I mean, are some of the best that I've ever seen in my life, and I've been in law enforcement for 30 years now. They're working hard. If you look at the numbers of how many officers they're down right now, they're actually down an entire shift. But these guys are going out every day and still doing some, what I would consider amazing police work. So I thank you for bringing that up, Councilwoman Reese, and I just want to reiterate that they are doing a great job, as well as all the other departments. But
Have you gotten a lot of interest, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sure.
Have you gotten a lot of interest since the negotiations have taken place? About
yes. The short answer is yes.
Okay. Just kind of curious is all. I know you were marketing us from familiar cities and everything else, so I just think it's a good thing to state.
Mm-hmm. So when we did the union negotiations, obviously you do comparables.
Yeah.
And our comparables put us with we are with everybody else, if not just slightly above, but we're with everybody else. We're no longer below anybody in the area, so that helped out a lot. And our benefits package here, I mean, the health insurance that the city has is just incredible, so it attracts people.
That's good.
It attracts. The other thing I'd like to talk about a little bit, that I know some of the council people have already got hit up on, and I'm sure you're gonna, zoning. I mean, we've made it very clear early on that we were going to go ahead and we were going to start cleaning up the town. Well, unfortunately, when you start enforcing rules that haven't been enforced in years, people don't like them. Send them to me. Unfortunately, it's the law. We said we were going to clean up the town. We're doing a very good job of it right now. As far as the parking, Erica's working hard. I've been taking on a very hands-on approach with zoning since the beginning of spring started, and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm out there getting my hands and my feet dirty just like everybody else, just to try to aid them to get stuff cleaned up. A couple of ordinances that are being enforced now that really haven't been in the past, and it's really upsetting a few people, but unfortunately, if we're ever going to get to where we need to be, we got to start enforcing these rules. So when you get calls, and you will, just send them to me.
Has there any thought to, there's always, it's been 27, 28 years, there's been a zoning issue with sidewalks.
The sidewalk program is on the radar for sure.
Okay.
We actually started it last year. I have to double check with Erica to get you exact statistics and stuff, but usually how it works is you tell whoever, hey, you've got a year to fix your sidewalk, and then the next year is when you fix it if it hasn't been completed yet, or it's just the first.
So we're looking at enforcing that then too?
Yeah, we're hitting a lot of things that need hitting. I mean, honestly, if any of you are familiar with the broken window theory, this is kind of it.
Right.
So, that's all I got, other than, I think we're doing a really good job citywide. What you got, Denny?
Well, I'm just gonna say, and then I kind of retracted it. But with the sidewalk program, in the past, didn't we have it where it was added on, if you could not fix it yourself, it was added on your property tax or something?
I would tell you that that's an option, but I will say this, that zoning will definitely, the city, not just on the city, we will work with anybody, and we will do whatever we can to make it, if we had somebody that couldn't afford or something, we'll figure something out.
The sidewalk issue was when Barry Oldenmeyer was the mayor. And then it kind of went away.
It's been ongoing.
After he left his office.
Mr. Frost, on the sidewalk, I know that I had to replace one side of my lot, since I live in the corner. The one side I had to replace the sidewalks, and that was when Mrs. Gerhard was working.
Yep.
That's been
20-some years.
Has it been 20?
It's been 20-some years.
Well, it was 10 or 15, but if it's 20-some, it's okay. Okay, what I want to know is, there's a lot of areas, especially Mulberry Street, that don't have sidewalks. Now, are you going to make them put sidewalks in?
I wouldn't make them.
You can.
Why can't
Well,
you?
that's why I'm asking Mr. Frost.
I don't know, that's a good question for the water.
There's
I
nothing
think you could or
that
you couldn't.
What are you gonna do to make them?
I mean, when.
I'm curious,
So
I'm asking to be educated, but
when the,
in city limits, aren't you required to have
When they put the new
sidewalks?
housing development in out by Big Lots, that was one of the questions before the planning commission, what goes in there? And there's nothing in zoning that requires that you have to put in sidewalks. And you look
Okay.
down Fremont, there's a lot of city streets that don't have sidewalks.
I have one.
Mulberry, Whittlesey.
The end of
out by
Orson.
Kroger.
Yeah.
There's quite a few areas in town that don't have sidewalks. There's never really ever been a zoning ordinance.
It was actually along North Street for a while.
So,
Can I respond to that sidewalk conversation quick?
Please.
So I think what we need to remember as a council and as an administration is not to get off on a sidewalk tangent for a few reasons. I'll tell you why. Is number one, 25 years ago doesn't matter today. Number two, there's a whole new generation of people that are living in our community. So if we're going to implement a sidewalk program, it's not just going to be willy-nilly. It's going to be strategically thought out. It's going to be ran through our rules, laws, and ordinance committee and council, and we're going to do many public meetings before we would ever think about implementing something, and rather than just throwing something back on our community that, whether it's on the books or not, there needs to be a re-educational process to make sure that people are fully educated, and we're looking at the best option today compared to what was 25 years ago to look at implementing, the sidewalk policy, whether it's a replacement policy or whether it's the sidewalk that was never installed when the new Kroger school was flipped around. There's other areas of concern amongst the city. So I just think I would hate to get off on a tangent of what was and what we're going to do without having that strategic conversation through a separate meeting rather than tonight. So
Good point.
I think that we should maybe talk about that, but maybe
Table.
not the time.
right.
The other comment that I want to echo off of what the safety service director said is it okay if I say a few words now? Council
Sure.
President?
You were next anyway.
Thank you. is
Get
just
2
remember what
minutes.
you passed tonight. I know there wasn't a lot of conversation, dialogue tonight about the 3 ordinances on the agenda. However, there was lengthy conversation when this ordinance was brought to your attention. And the reason why we brought this ordinance to your attention is because of the lack of teeth in the code enforcement in the city. Okay? All of us are here because we are elected into these positions, which means we have a lot of people that like us that voted us in, but also we have a lot of people that don't like us that voted us, that we're sitting here today, right? Here's the thing. I have a lot of friends that have already called me because code enforcement has been contacting them about issues or violations, and they're like, well, why are you coming at us now after it's been 5 years? It doesn't matter if you're my father, my aunt, my uncle, or a business friend. I can't pick and choose who the code enforcement is going to address. What I can tell you is that they will be professional, they will be respectful, and they will do what they can to work with you. However, if there's little things that people have to do to fix, to correct, that's in violation of the ordinance, I would ask the public to comply with that. Unfortunately, there's only 2 people doing this, and they cannot get to every single person every single day. They will prioritize, they will strategize, and they will do their best to treat everyone with respect, with integrity, but they also deserve to be treated with that same level of respect back. You know, I will tell you that we've talked about this publicly at a city council meeting for about 6 months now, and I've said it many, many times publicly that the city needs to step up their code enforcement. So they're doing that, and they are dealing with pushback. I am dealing with pushback, the safety service director is dealing with pushback, you're gonna deal with pushback, okay? If there's rules and ordinances that we don't like, council, you have the ability to change those ordinances. If we don't like the rules, we have to change them. If there are things not being done that you think should be enforced and they're not enforceable, then we need to change the ordinances to make those things enforceable. So I'm just saying to council and the public, you know, we have a very active code enforcement strategic plan that's taking place in the city that may ruffle some feathers. I'm not saying they're not gonna work with people. I'm not saying they're not gonna give people time to clean up a situation, but there are things that just take 5 minutes to take care of, or you might not be able to park in a place that you've been parking your car, you know.
Or an RV.
Now
or
that you're
Go ahead.
strategically doing this, is there couple particular areas that seem to be, or is it across the board?
It's across the board.
Okay, I'm just curious.
For example, parking front yards in front lawns is not allowed.
Right.
You know, so someone may have been parking their vehicle in front of their lawn, and now they're like, why are you stopping here
Or
now
side
after
lots.
5 years?
Right.
You know, which I understand. So I think what we need to do a better job of is putting more information out to the public via social media and talking about these things at council meetings.
Then he'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No, I
It
just-
was just a sidebar.
Okay.
Go ahead, Don.
Well, I'm trying to explain this so you have this information
Yep.
as
Right.
you are out in the community.
Right.
It's going along with what you're saying.
No, go ahead if
No, I said we had a bus in the side yard.
yes.
Jenny, do you remember that over by St. Joe? Up of,
It wasn't mine, was it?
Jim.
Yeah.
I won't mention any, I won't mention any
You
names.
got an outstanding fine, by the way.
And Mr. Slick, the reason why I was stopping so you could speak wasn't because you were being disrespectful, it's because you have been very helpful in helping to
No.
address some of these concerns,
No,
so.
no, I'm just saying, I figured Denny had known what we're talking on that.
So, and
I can't believe they allowed him to do
And we've
that.
had these conversations with individual council members who have brought things to our concern as well. So I just want to touch base a little bit, I just want to touch base a little bit more on that tonight. However, if there is a situation in which you feel someone is being targeted, or they feel like they're being targeted, then I would ask you to do your due diligence to get to the bottom of it, to one, give them the satisfaction that they're not being targeted, and if they are, then we need to address that. So we'll address it either way to the best of our ability, but I think we need to support our code enforcement department and give them the tools and the resources, and you did that tonight by passing this ordinance. The other thing I wanted to touch on with you here tonight is the dam area with trees and stuff that are built up behind the dam. There's been a lot of comments on social media. Mr. Henning's been very helpful trying to, I saw one comment, I can't keep up with all of these pages. However, just to remind council, it's that time of the year that we're not allowed to go remove anything because of the ODNR time period. So we are not allowed to go remove any of that debris until after June 1st. So after June 1st, it's low flow season. Remember, the city of Fremont rents equipment and city employees go in there and remove all of that debris. We're not paying whatever rumor is out there. We're not spending $50,000 to have some company do this. The first year, we did have to spend a decent amount of money to have these logs and trees removed. However, after June 1st, the departments will collaborate. We have operators that will be able to get into this Sandusky River to remove that debris, and then they will set that off to the side and take that out to Universal Farms or allow some members of the public to come and get that. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome. The other thing, Mr. Sleek, I want to follow up on what you said. You were giving Mr. Gross and our administration credit for the hotel. Remember, it started with you as a council. We came to you with asking you to allocate funding to be able to hire an outside company to do a study to bring a hotel into the city. Without members of council, we would not have been able to execute that plan. So,
Thank you for reminding me of that.
and you've done a great job as a city council member assisting us with economic development input. But as a council, you voted for that to happen. And I know I try to give you guys kudos every meeting, but really, as a city, we are strategically planning on having these initiatives take place. But these are big projects that are sometimes 2 to 4 years in the making, maybe 2 to 5. Even a local developer who's building 1 to 2 units, sometimes those strategic plans are a 1 to 3 to 4 year process. No one just decides to even build one apartment building within months. It's a process, just the process of getting through everything you have to go through, okay? The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is this city has over, I don't have the number in front of me, but we have well over 100 employees that work in the city full-time and part-time. For the last decade that I've been the mayor in the city has contracted with Clemens & Nelson, who is an independent contracting company for human resource situations. However, within the last 10 years, the safety service director and I have really been handling a lot of the internal situations with employees and things like that, whether it's an employee personnel issue or whether it's a complaint from the public, whatever that may be. And we still utilize Clemens & Nelson to come in and assist us. About the last 2 years, I think, Mr. Sleek, several years ago, I think you and I had this conversation about a human resource position in the city of Fremont.
That's correct.
We just haven't been able to figure out financially how we can make that work without significantly, I don't want to say significantly, without an increase in the budget. And selfishly, I think Ken and I just wanted to try to do the most we could with our backgrounds coming into these positions. However, we have been working diligently over the last 6 months to a year what it would look like with a human resource director. We are one of the few areas of a city our size that does not have a human resource director. It's unfair to expect the mayor of the city, whether it's me or someone else, or the safety service director, to be the jury, the investigator, the jury, and the judge, essentially. And it's also, I believe that the city of Fremont residents deserve someone to be able to handle things and from a very unbiased view and be able to assist the administration when dealing with personnel issues, whether it's benefit issues, whether it's hiring procedures, or whatever those are. What I will tell you is we have significantly changed hiring practice in the city, in my opinion, to put them more up to what they need to be. And we're very transparent with our hiring process throughout the city, even in positions that I have the ability to appoint in unclassified positions by Ohio law. I still, most of the time, have chosen to put those positions out for the public to apply for. Because I believe in trying to hire the best candidate for a position. With that being said, I don't have the date, but approximately 4 to 6 months ago, we had an employee who retired from water and sewer office who was doing an administrative secretarial role for the water plant, the water treatment plant, also the water reclamation plant. And that position was paid 50% out of the water fund and 50% out of the sewer fund. So we have worked with, I was sharing with Mr. Sleek as one of the benefits of him and Councilman Reese taking a trip down to the water treatment plant was they were able to meet one of the assistant superintendents who is there, Alan Talker. And essentially between Mr. Johnson and Mr. Talker, who are superintendent and assistant superintendent at the treatment plant by Rogea Park, and Mr. Jeff Lamson and Josh Waring, who are the superintendent and the assistant superintendent at that plant, they have absorbed those administrative duties internally. So we have essentially eliminated that position. So with that position being eliminated, strategically, Ken and I are looking at creating an HR, Human Resource Director's position, which would be paid a third sewer fund, a third water fund, and then a third general fund, the same way that mine in his position and the auditor's position was paid now. So that position estimated was, the auditor's not here tonight, but that position was an estimated full package position, an estimated $70,000 a year with salary and benefits. So essentially that's $35,000 a year that would be split up that we'd be able to utilize into a human resource director position. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We have estimate, over the last several years, we've paid Clemens and Nelson anywhere from $90,000 to $100,000 a year, which is average for human resource type work. A lot of that work that they do in conjunction with the safety service director, for example, right now today, will help me come up with this human resource position. The other thing that they've done that we've been working on is our policy and procedure manual, updating that, updating what job descriptions, and I say like what people are actually doing. Things have changed, right? And there's over 100 something employees. There's a lot of different job descriptions we're dealing with. Many different unions in the city. And public sector is totally different than private sector. Everything we do in the public sector, as you all know, is very transparent with the public. Everything you do in the private sector is not transparent, okay? So Mr. Frost has been working for a long time, probably over a year, trying to update job descriptions in the city in conjunction with Clemens and Nelson. We believe that we can significantly reduce the cost of what we're paying Clemens Nelson. And even if we reduce that by half, that half would then cover what it would cost to hire a human resource director. Also, prevention is worth a pound of care. I believe that by hiring a human resource director, it will free the safety service director up to be a safety service director. It will free me up to be a mayor, and it will allow the human resource director to do what a human resource director does. It would also assist the auditor's office with our benefits and everything else. Currently, we really don't have a strong benefits representative. It's literally between Amanda Sears, who's here tonight, and our auditor's office, who work diligently to try to get this information. As the mayor, I assign who the insurance reps are. For my first term, I did it. For my second term, I didn't do it. Ken did it, and I believe, are you doing it now? I think Bob did it the second term, and I think you've been doing it the last 5 or 6 years. Yeah. Okay. So, what I've done is I've met with several, Ken and I have met with several other human resource directors, and we've spoken with others, and we've also had a meeting with the City of Tiffin human resource director, who was also the city manager slash human resource director before they made that split. We got her job description, who's the woman who's currently in that, and we sat down and we had a good hour meeting to just talk about what really happens and the difference that made for her in her role. She chose to take the human resource director job, and they hired a separate city manager. What I'm looking to do is not lose my safety service director, but also hire a human resource director. With that being said, I've also spoken to the auditor, who is in support of the position, who's not here tonight, and I've also spoken to the law director, who is not here tonight. And I've spoken to a few of the council members, and I haven't had the chance to talk to all of you. I wanted to call all of you over the last few days. I just haven't had a chance to call all of you. So I thought I would address this tonight. As we are going through this transition, I'm also going to announce to you that Amanda Sears will be leaving our office. So Amanda has been with me since day one of me getting in office. Amanda started off in my administration probably scared because she worked under the previous administration. I remember the first day I called her. And I'll be honest with you, Amanda has been a huge asset to the city. She started off, as you know, or maybe you don't know, as a part-time secretary in the administrative office. We moved her to a full-time position She went from a secretary one, from a part-time secretary to I don't even like the word secretary, because the position is way more than a secretary, which is why we need to change the job descriptions. To me, it diminishes the people in that position. She has the title secretary two, and then she had an opportunity. She was poached and she went to RGP in Toledo, and we gave her more interviews. She went, she came back, and we hired her back with open arms because she's been an asset. She's accepted a position as the village administrator with the village of Ada, which is where Ohio Northern University is at. And as much as Ken and I do not want her to leave, we are also happy for her to grow. Hopefully someday she can go and come back and maybe be the next safety service director here in the city of Fremont. I say that to say the human resource director position has nothing to do with Amanda leaving. The timing just happens to be at the same time. We deal with a lot of things, as you all know, and we have a very small staff, just like most of you do at your places, probably where you work. People are doing more with less. As excited as we are, it's also going to be very challenging to myself and Ken and also Elena. The good thing is when someone leaves, there's always an opportunity for someone else to step up. Elena is also a huge asset to our city. Amanda and her have a great relationship, and Elena is ready to take on the role of what Amanda is currently doing. And Amanda has prepared Elena to take on that role. The one thing that we try to do in our administration is to make sure that not everyone, only one person knows everything. Everyone knows everything but me. I just know how to hire good people, I think. So with that being said, there is a position posted that's currently out into the public. Again, it's an unclassified position. I could just appoint a person to that. I don't have to post it. I'm posting it to try to attract the best candidate to the city of Fremont. I know that someone must want to work for us because I believe we've had over 50 applicants already. But here's what I will tell you all. Although it's my decision, it's not my decision. I have tasked Ken, Bob, and Elena to go through those applications and to determine who they want to interview and ultimately recommend to me who they want to hire. Because it's not me, it's about the team. And if we can hire them, if they're happy, then I'm probably going to be happy. With that being said, I want to turn it over to Amanda and give her the opportunity to say a few words. So thank you.
Good job, man.
I would just like to say thank you to all of you for the last 11 years that I've been here. That's it, because otherwise I'll cry.
Congratulations.
We're going to miss you, but congratulations.
And I told her that's going to be her biggest barrier there. When you have to have a tough conversation, you better not cry.
Give her the gavel, smack her hand. Congratulations.
You can cry, I still
So
do.
we'll give her a round of applause.
I think
That it?
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay.
I do have one thing.
Okay.
That is actually business related. There is a flyer over here. The city of Fremont is going to be collaborating with a local nonprofit called Glassroots. So Glassroots is run by a local Fremonter. She's a Fremont grad. What they do is they collect your aluminum can recyclables. They turn them in for scrap, and then they use that money to give back to the community. So their big project every year is providing school supplies to students. So this year they decided for Earth Day that they want to do a community cleanup, and they've asked us to partner with them. So April 26th from 10:30 to 1. The city, as well as Glassroots and anybody from the community is welcome to join. They're going to meet down at Beck Suppliers at 1000 North Front Street. They will be cleaning up Fulton Street area and potentially moving to Route 53, the ditch area, if it needs it. So would like to encourage anyone that's available that day to come help clean up.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up and have something to say? State your name and address.
I think Mr. Malley had something.
You do?
Well, yeah. I
You've
was
been so
just-
quiet all night.
Yeah, you know, I'm.
Calm before the storm.
Yeah.
No, I have a couple of things. One with, what was just related,
Time's up.
no, I just approve of what the mayor and how he's going about it, and I think we all can see what he's trying to do with hiring this new position, so I appreciate that. Can I make something kind of random? And it has nothing to do, but it does, with what we talked about tonight?
Sure.
Is there any way, I know I've always brought up, and I'm gonna go to the dam, I've always brought up about one, and I know we have to go ODNR, and we don't, trying to get through, handicap fishing. Any way that we can make a path, driving path, parking lot down to go there?
Unfortunately, no.
Is that ODNR? or-
That's all in there for wetlands mitigation. And the only road that we have is the one that we keep closed off where they drag the logs up. That's not supposed to be an access road. That's just so we can get down there and clean it up.
The thing is there is, I don't know if it's designated specifically to handicap, but down at the Sandusky County Parks District, there are a lot of folks that fish down there now because as a result of the dam being removed, that's.
You're talking about it, the old River Plus?
Yeah, and there, I was down there to just observe the river, and there were some folks that, I don't know whether or not they were handicapped, but they were, they were a little older and they weren't able to get access to the river.
More my age.
Well, they might have been a little.
Maybe younger.
But seriously, yes, there were.
And also down at,
And then the
by
sand
the
docks.
sewage, yes.
That's also another area that we try to refer people to that are coming into the area.
And across the river from that.
Yeah, so there's, so there's three areas. But in all seriousness, I do want to let you know that, I don't know if you folks were all here when we had a town hall meeting probably 7 or 8 months ago when Mr. Stevens from the tackle box had brought up concern
Yeah.
about the Sandusky River. Representative Click and myself and 5 ODNR members did have a meeting earlier this week in reference to the fishing concern that Mr. Stevens brought to my attention. I want to update you on some of the progress that's being done with that. So, a few things. ODNR came here and gave a presentation to council, and they were talking about putting a net across the Sandusky River in reference to these carp. They are no longer doing that. That project has been delayed permanently, is what I was told. They also have agreed to minimize, and Mr. Frost was in that meeting as well, so Mr. Frost and I met with them. They've also agreed to minimize the electric shocking of the fish in the river from the Dar ramp and south, and they would stay out by the Turnpike Bridge and do that there. However, they also agreed to even minimize the amount they were shocking, and said that they have had as much or more success as catching these carp with nets, gill nets, rather than the shocking. The only time that they said that they would for sure have to do the shocking, which would be during, if there was like in the spawning, they identified the spawning. And they do not even plan on starting doing this work until June 1st. It could be between May and June. That's when they're putting their college crews together. We asked them if they would consider doing it later in the evening or at night, and their hesitation, they weren't against it. Their hesitation was that they hire college kids, and due to the safety of the river, maybe not being familiar, that would be the best situation to put the college students in. So that makes sense. However, they are very respectful. They are very understanding of Mr. Stevens' concerns, and they said that they would stay primarily out of that whole area. And they also expressed that this has been a very good fishing season. So, which maybe you've noticed, I've noticed a lot of the anglers in town with the rains and things like that have really helped. They also said that over the last few years, that they have seen a significant decline in the white bass, the white bass run. It's not anything that they're concerned with, it's just the way that they mate, and they said that happens about every 5 to 6 years. So they're waiting any time now for that meeting to kick back up, and they said that we should be experiencing a very healthy white bass run again soon. So as you brought up the fishing, and I did call Mr. Stevens and let him know that I was having the meeting, and I called to let him know the results of the meeting afterwards. He was very happy to hear that there was a meeting. I did ask ODNR if they would have a public meeting, and they refused. They just didn't want to take the public meeting, you know, so they said that, and I reminded them they were public employees. However, they don't work under my administration, and they're very respectful, very polite, and said that they would entertain a meeting with maybe some business owners, but they just didn't want to take a bunch of shots from the public. Do you have a question, sir?
Yeah, you're talking about the invasive carp.
Correct. Yep. The grass carp.
Are they gonna still do some shocking, did I understand?
They are, but they're gonna minimize it. However, they said you still may see some ODNR boats like up on this part of the river, but they will not be shocking.
And when they shock, you say if you get a walleye or a perch up there, catfish, do they just stun them or does it kill them?
They explained to us that the fish are not injured in any way, shape, or form. It's like just a temporary jolt.
Gotcha.
To get them to float up and then they can.
But they're not going to install any sort of actual barrier, like they're not going to do the bubbles? They're
It's
not
off
gonna
now.
do
Yeah, none of that, all of that presentation that they.
Not going to do any of those?
Nope, none of
Geez,
those.
there's an hour when
What about the cash
they-
bounty? Are they going to keep
No,
the
what's that,
cash
sir?
bounty? Remember they said they were paying people like $50 for fish if they...
Right.
They did that with the commercial fish.
Yes,
They did.
yes.
They did say that.
They did.
Well, that was my mitigation, like just pay people to, I mean...
Another job, Jim.
Yeah.
I did not ask them that question.
All right, all right.
I got a
I'm
paddle
still
boat
in favor.
did.
Get Travis Hunter to come down
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Go back to Dan, it's okay to walk down there, isn't it?
For everyone but you. No.
You gotta
I
run.
walk down there all the time, yeah.
Danny, I don't think you should walk down.
You should run.
I got a little cart. Oh, maybe I won't be able to take that.
Put some different.
They clear a log, you can take
Stop
that.
at U-turn and get some different tires.
All right, thank you, Madam President.
Anyone else have anything? Then I'd ask somebody to put a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You shouldn't?
Make a motion to adjourn. Yes.
Isn't that what I said?
Yes.
Come on,
I thought
give
you
me
were
an
about
eye
to say
second
something else.
today. Chris
Okay.
and Hogger.
You didn't do it though.
Chris stole mine because he was better dressed.
Okay, Jim Sleek makes a motion to adjourn, and
Everybody.
everybody seconds. Adjourn.
Wait, guess.
How do you write?
Oh, yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Frazier,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder.
Yeah.
Adjourn.
Now we're adjourned.